What's going on, everyone? So one of the big questions with the San Antonio Spurs is how is the starting five going to be made up? Right? Obviously, Devin Vassell at the moment is currently out with injury. He won't be reevaluated until November 1st. Doesn't mean he'll be back November 1st, just when he will be reevaluated. But at some point, he's going to be back. At some point, he's going to be injected back into the starting lineup. And so you have at least 4 of your 5 locked up. You have Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, as well as Victor Wembanyama. And outside of that, I do think that there is an argument and there is kind of a point for several key players that could be injected in the starting lineup. Obviously, Jeremy Sohan is a starter in many Spurs, right? Particularly Pop's eyes. He regularly goes to Jeremy Sohan. He's very high on Sohan. You look at Jeremy, he's kind of that Boris Diaw type, right? Like, Pop is always like those do everything, play hard, can make plays, can rebound, right? Not necessarily a star or superstar or anything like that, but he's just a guy that works hard and does a little bit of everything, right? You see Pop is always like those type of players, have always really gotten the most out of those type of players. Jeremy Sohan slotted alongside Victor Wembanyama with Harrison Barnes, Vassell, Chris Paul. Probably the most likely scenario. However, I like Sohan off the bench right now. Could he evolve at some point to be clearly this guy's clearly the starter alongside Wemby? Sure. I just think right now he's not there yet. Right? He has moments, he has games, he has stretches, and even Spurs fans seem very split on him. Every time I talk about Jeremy Sohan, like, half the comments are just like, get rid of him, he's a bum. The other comments are like, no, he's going to be great. Just give him time. He's the guy. Right? It kind of seems like almost 50-50 at times. But look, regardless, however you feel about him, Pop seems to love him. Spurs seem to be very high on him. And at some point, you got to imagine that he's going to be in the starting lineup. I just don't like his lack of shooting, I think, is a concern. And now with Chris Paul, you don't really need his playmaking. You don't really need him making plays. Right? Like, you kind of have all the things now in the starting lineup that Jeremy Sohan provides, that I'd rather go more versatile out on the perimeter. Right? So, for example, like Stefan Castle. He's somebody that makes a lot of sense because he's 6'6", got good size, good length, good athleticism. He is a hustle, do everything, work hard workhorse, right? He can rebound, he can score, he can, if you need him to make some plays, right? He gives you a lot of what Jeremy Sohan gives you, but I just think is more dynamic and makes more sense with what you got, right? Like, now you have some injection of youth and athleticism out on the perimeter, some defense, a guy that can continue to rebound and play make and hit some outside shots. But also with Stefan Castle, he's just a guy that, even at UConn, like, he willing and will do whatever. You need him to go give you 20, he'll give you 20. You need him to get 10 rebounds, get 10 rebounds. You need him to just defend and not really do much, he'll defend and do much else. Right? Like, I think he's a guy that makes a lot of sense to kind of slot in and just go, hey, let's get some better balance out there. Move Harrison Barnes to the 4. Slide in Stefan Castle at the 3. I know he's being conditioned and trained to be the point guard at some point, and that's fine. But he's not there yet. You're probably not going to have him be that this season. Right? So why not kind of have him be out there, developing other skill sets, playing other roles. So that way, if you do have Trey Jones out there and you can still run Stefan Castle rather than like he's just, pure point guard. No, like, he's going to be a hybrid guard. That's what we're at in this league. You look at SGA, Jean Morant's, like, these guys, they're the hybrid. They're more twos than they are point guards, just based on their size and their skill sets and stuff. I think that that's what Stefan Castle will emerge into. But until he gets to that point, you want to get him as much opportunity, as much of a role as possible. I think slotting him in at that 3 spot with his size, give you some athleticism. You're not worried about the interior. Wemby defends and is going to hold that down. Last thing you're concerned about is somebody protecting the rim. You want to be able to defend out on the perimeter and take pressure off of Wemby. right? And adding a guy like a Stefan Castle, I do think does that for you. I think Stefan Castle is a guy that can take that pressure off, can kind of play multiple roles. He can do whatever you just ask for. If he's not shooting well or he can't score, right, he still is going to work hard. He's going to get after it on the defense side. He's going to dive for loose balls. He's going to be the dirty work player. And you need that. You need those dirty work players. You need those workhorses. You need those guys that are willing to do whatever is needed game to game. Stefan Castle is a guy that I do like in that regard. However, he is a rookie. Pop usually likes to give those rookies time to get their legs under them, get their feet wet. Like even Wemby, start of the season, you look at Wemby and it's like, why is he playing 19 minutes? It's like, well, because Pop's trying to wean him in, right? He's trying to make sure he doesn't have too big of a workload. He doesn't have to do too much. He can get accustomed and acclimated to the pace and the physicality and just the play at an NBA level. Because again, there's no replicating that, right? Like college scrimmages, even in training camp and stuff, when you're running fives, like you're not replicating an actual NBA game. And so it's nice to kind of let guys build up to it. So I could see Pop. That's kind of my one thing, is that like I don't know if Pop would start him at least regularly. Obviously, if a guy's out or something, then yes. But regularly, I don't see Pop starting him, just simply based on the fact that like Pop likes to kind of give guys opportunity to kind of build up to it, rather than just like, here you go, you're in it, right? So who else? Well, Kellin Johnson. Kellin Johnson is coming off of a great game. 23 minutes, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 9 of 13, 1 of 2 from 3, 1 block, 2 steals. He has a revamped body, revamped look, new number, all of it, right? Like, he's a guy that completely changed this offseason. Now, he's a guy that go give you the vacuum scoring that you need, right? Him with Devin Vassell out kind of does make a lot of sense. You just got that guy that can just go get you 20 plus on any given night. However, with Kellin Johnson, personally, and so far, even Pop is still having him come off the bench. Because right now, like, you look at the starting five that has been in preseason, it's been Barnes, Paul, Sohan, Champagnie, and then Victor Wembanyama. Right, last game they did Zach Collins because Wemby didn't play. But, Kellin Johnson, I personally think is best suited in that sixth man role. I think he is best kind of slotted into the role where it's like, hey, you're coming off the bench, you're being that vacuum scorer, you're being that guy that go get you 15 to 20 a night plus, on a great night, maybe he's giving you 25. But rather than like him being in that starting unit where he's best to kind of just, you want him to play within the certain schemes where off the bench, you can kind of just give him the green light and let him go, right? Like, hey, here's the ball, just get after it. And with this new kind of outlook and revamped body, he can kind of do different things out there on the basketball court. He can kind of play a different role than he did previously. But could you slot him in the starting unit? Yes. But I think once Vassell gets there, I think it becomes very redundant. And Vassell at some point is going to be back. And I just think, you're best to keep Kellin Johnson in that six-man role. Let him kind of build on that role. Rather than like he's starting, now he's going back to the bench. Oh, somebody's out, he's starting again, right? Like just kind of, you want to do your best to keep him in that six-man role, so that way he can, one, potentially get the accolades of being the sixth man, but two, so he can kind of just get comfortable and adjusted to that role, right? Obviously, he's been doing it for a while now, so I do think it's there, but you want to keep allowing him to build upon that. But last up, and the guy that I think has really kind of earned it, is Julian Brandt. I mean, he's been fantastic so far through the 3 games of preseason. Now, I understand it's preseason, but he's looked very comfortable out there. He's playing both sides of the basketball. He's getting after it on the defense side. He's been incredibly efficient. He's shooting the lights out right now. Even the last game, right, which was one of his more non-stellar shooting nights, he still shot 50% from 3, right? Like, as silly as it sounds, like, but that's how good he's shot the basketball lately. He was 21 minutes, gave you 15 points, 3 rebounds. He was 4-8 from the field and 4-8 from 3. 3-3 from the foul line, a block, a steal. I mean, he's doing a little bit of everything out there. He's got good size, good length. He's very versatile out there on the basketball court. He's a guy that I really do believe warrants at least the look. At least until Vassell comes back, I think you start him, right? So you could kind of start him at the 2, kind of see, okay, how does it look? And if he continues to play well, if he continues to deliver the way he has been, and then Vassell gets back, you just slide Barnes to the 4, move Champagnie to the 3, and then put Vassell at the 2. But if he starts to struggle and he kind of now you have that, you're out. Now you have the oh man, hey, it was just until Vassell got back. Vassell's back. We're going to bring you off the bench. Don't worry. Keep working hard. You'll eventually be in the starting role. You kind of use Vassell as your guys to, hey, you're getting this momentarily. And then if he earns it, again, move Barnes to the 4, have Champagnie at the 3, Vassell at the 2 with Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama, and now you're off to the races, and you may have potentially just solved your answer at the 3 spot for the future, right? Very interesting. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? What are your takeaway on what the starting 5 should be? How should the starting 5 look? Is there any guys in particular that you want at that 5? Do you think, maybe try different guys during the regular season? Or do you want, kind of that stability right out the gate? Obviously, with Devin Vassell, there's going to be somebody in the starting unit that's not supposed to be in the starting unit. But outside of that, you'd like to get at least the other 4 guys locked in, ready to go. So all Vassell's doing is just plugging into those 4 guys, rather than we're running these 5 and then Vassell comes back and we're changing the whole lineup, right? You'd rather have kind of that structure and stability. But however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.